Good morning and welcome to the Brick by Brick podcast with Ronald Pauleus, where we look at the principles woven throughout our world that you can take advantage of so you could build a life worth living brick by brick. Today is a little bit different. Today, I want to talk about building a life of purpose. And I want to talk about not hustle, not strategy, but about honor, sacrifice, and gratitude. Today is Memorial Day. Memorial Day. Memorial Day is more than just a 3-day weekend. It's more than barbecue and sales. It's more than hot dogs and burgers. It's a day to remember the men and women who gave their lives in service to our country. Those who laid down their futures so we could have this present. Those who gave their lives so that we can have this freedom. Those who stood up against the threat of tyranny so that we could have a republic, a democracy, so that you could have a voice. It's about boots on the ground, courage in chaos, sacrifice without applause. Memorial Day. Memorial Day. So many people have given their lives. It's amazing, fascinating. So many gave their lives during war, gave their lives in missions unheard of, unknown, gave their lives on foreign land while having family back home. We didn't send a whole bunch of people to war who had no family ties, had no history, were ghosts, and if they died, we wouldn't miss them. That's not the case at all. So many stood up for their country in a moment where they didn't have to. Now, many were drafted and they rose to the occasion and fought and gave their lives. So what does Memorial Day teach us as builders, as entrepreneurs, parents, leaders, visionaries? 2 things. Freedom is never free, and greatness always requires sacrifice. Freedom is never free. I'm a Christian, and this rings spiritually because Jesus Christ gave his life so that I would be spiritually free, so that you'd be spiritually free. Free from the chains of sin, free from the tyranny of the devil, free from the fear of death because of the resurrection and the hope therein. John 15:13 says, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friend. No greater love than to lay down one's life. Jesus did it first, doing it for the whole world. And then our men and our women did it for us at war. Jesus shed blood so that many would be free and receive eternal life. And our soldiers shed their blood so that many would be free and have a free temporal life. Freedom is never free. You see, every opportunity we chase, every business we start, every platform we build, it exists because somebody else gave their life so that we would have the freedom to do this. we could have been living in a totally different country, totally different world. So many people around the world do not have the freedoms we have. So many people don't have the ability to say, I'm going to quit my job, or I'm going to do after my 9 to 5, I'm going to do a 5 to 10 so I could get ahead, so I could leave my 9 to 5, so I can get a dream life. So many people don't have the opportunity to say, you know what, this isn't working for me, I'm going to do something else. So many people don't have the freedoms, don't have the resources, don't have the tools, don't have the connections to be able to say, I'm going to be consistent at this for a year and my whole life will change. You see, freedom isn't free, and when we build, we must realize that it comes. It came at a cost. Yeah, this is raw, unedited. And when I yawn, my eyes water. So I gotta kind of wipe my eyes here. Freedom's never free. Freedom's never free. The other thing is greatness requires sacrifice. The reality is no lasting legacy is built without giving something up. And here's the other thing. You gotta build not expecting a Memorial Day. These people went to war, and they did not have one area in their mind where they were saying, man, I'm going to be remembered on Memorial Day. They had one duty before them, and that was to defeat the enemy. They had one mission, and that was to make sure they came out on top and victorious. Did you notice I didn't say alive? Their mission that they chose to accept, that they were sent out to fulfill, was to be victorious no matter the cost, even if it costed their lives. And they gave it. And they built not expecting a Memorial Day. They built not expecting that they'd be commemorated and remembered and highlighted. Why? Because they could have lost. If they did, we wouldn't be remembering them. Not in this glorious way. You see, you don't get to the top by accident. You get there by giving things up. Comfort is not the goal. Purpose is. Fulfilling that purpose. And sacrifice gets you to fulfill that purpose. If you're building a legacy, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you. I've never served in the military, but I know many people who have. And it humbles you. It humbles you to realize that these men gave their lives. That those who came back, who made it home alive, were there when their friend died, and they feel they should have died. Or this should have gone another way, or that should have gone another way. It's tough. It's tough. You gotta build. You gotta build. Ronald Reagan said this: freedom is not a gift from government. Freedom is a gift from God. General George Patton said, it is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived. And then Joseph Campbell said, a hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. What are some of these parallels? Well, soldiers and entrepreneurs face uncertainty. Remember, I'm connecting this to our mindset, our brick by brick path we have before us. We both face uncertainty. No soldier enters knowing if they'll win or complete the mission. None leave knowing if they'll even come out alive. Even low risk, low reward missions can end up going haywire. High risk, high reward missions can go haywire. Low risk, high reward go. It doesn't matter the mission, there's always a level of uncertainty. Now, you can mitigate against uncertainty by planning, by looking at all the potential things that could happen, by making sure you have resources and connections, by making sure that you're listening and you have listening to the right information, have the right coach, have the right mentor, someone who's gone before you, being trained the right way. There's ways you can mitigate against uncertainty, but there's always going to be a level of uncertainty because the market could shift. It could rain while you're out on the field. Several things could happen that change things. The other thing is both have to face internal battles. Some parallels: fear, doubt, fatigue. Soldiers face that also. They did. Entrepreneurs face that also. But in the midst of all that, we got to keep going. Both operate best when they're part of a mission bigger than themselves. Everyone fights for themselves. Very few people fight hard for things they don't believe in. You're working at that 9 to 5, that W-2, and you're doing a bare minimum sometimes to just keep your job. You don't want your boss to come and look at what you're doing. You're just doing a bare minimum. You're not going above and beyond. Right? It's not mandatory you do. You're doing your job, right? But when you find something you believe in and love and would fight for and would even die for, going above and beyond is not a question. It's just what you do. And when you find a mission, when you find and receive the purpose God has for you that is bigger than yourself, you will find passion and drive and fire that will light you up in such a way you never think you could receive before. Because that's how purpose and mission works. And then here's the other thing, the last parallel I want to draw. Soldiers and entrepreneurs understand sacrifice now means reward later. They're giving up their time, their resources, their energy, their mental capacity and strength and power and money. They're giving it up, even physical. They're giving it up all. But they know, just like Memorial Day, when they went to serve, they knew that if they won, if they completed their mission, if they were victorious, many would be free. What would happen if you built that business you were dreaming of? What would happen if you invested in yourself? Whose lives would you change if you could spend more time with them and not be at that W-2? What organizations, nonprofits, churches, ministries would you invest in if you had more money? How much more would you know your wife or your husband if you had more time and you weren't at your 9 to 5, 40 hours? How much more would you know your kids if you were able to just be home? Not because you're on vacation, not because you took a sick day off, but because you're making money and you got location freedom now, time freedom, financial freedom. What would that look like? Now, what would you have to sacrifice now for you to get there? What legacy will your discipline leave behind? What will you give up to build a life worth living, brick by brick? Memorial Day. Let's build with reverence, knowing the blood that was shed so that we would be free.